Welcome back, everyone, to the Weekly Source. Super excited to have you. Took a couple weeks off, kind of gearing up for this next season of episodes and shows. Really excited for our guest today. Today we've got Stacy Cutrono of the newly formed Ultimate Kronos Group, UKG. I mean, as we're recording this, we literally just saw the announcement. So, Stacy, welcome to the Weekly Source.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited for our new name and our new brand. UKG moving forward, I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, very cool merger. There's core competencies in both companies, and then you and I were even just talking before camera what that means for what you're doing and how it's continuing to evolve. But for the folks who haven't either seen you on Eclipse Live, I know we've had the pleasure of talking in the past, but give us a bit of sense of what you're doing as a wellness coach for UKG today, or even just your journey to that role.
Yeah, so I originally started out in academia. I was pursuing a doctorate at the University of Miami, and I was really passionate about exercise and cancer research. And so after graduation, I wound up working for an integrative medicine practice at the Cancer Center, working directly with cancer patients and survivors and families to talk about the role of physical activity in their treatment, how that could supplement with fatigue and other medication related side effects, and then moved forward into survivorship and how physical activity and exercise could be a help in their recovery and regaining strength and energy. And so I did that for a number of years. And then 2 years ago, I joined then Ultimate Software as the wellness coach, and really kind of broadened the role because it wasn't so much just focused on exercise, it was focused on all aspects of well-being. And we built a holistic, comprehensive wellness program. So we wanted our people to understand that wellness was the intersection of things like your physical well-being, but also your mental health and emotional well-being, your financial well-being, the way that your environment and your relationships play into your overall day-to-day feeling of well-being. And so all of those things sort of come together, and we've had a number of different cool programs that we've put out for our employees. And now that we have merged with Kronos and now we're moving forward as UKG, it's just beginning to continue to evolve. This is really an exciting time for all of us. And I think the pandemic has really highlighted how important well-being is and how it keeps us grounded.
So going back, because I think I'm reading up, and you and I talking before, you spoke about a program you took at University of Florida about the adaptive physical activity and how that kind of set you on the course, at least for prior life and career. I mean, yeah. Reading on it, it was very cool. Can you just touch on that quickly before we kind of get more into what you're doing today? Because I thought that was really, really interesting to hear about.
Yeah, 100%. So it's interesting how one professor can change the course of your whole life. So when I was doing my undergraduate work at the University of Florida, I took this class called Adaptive Physical Activity. And really it was meant to kind of broaden the horizons of what sport could do for those who had physical disabilities or physical challenges, and how to modify and customize sport. And so like now you see, Paralympic athletes and things like that. And so it's much more prevalent in our society. But back then that was really my first exposure, and it for me it opened my eyes to the fact that everyone everywhere can engage in well-being in some way, shape, or form. And it wasn't a matter of what you could do, it was a matter of how you could do it. And so that just it made a whole pivot in my career, and really allowed me to put on a hat of how do we get people to achieve well-being. What are the challenges or barriers that they face, and we all have them, and how do we really design around that? And so I'm the professor was Dr. Christine Stopka. She has now since retired, and I think about her all the time when I'm doing work or when I'm coming up with something new, because she was influential. I don't think she would ever know how much, but she's so pivotal in changing the course of my career.
And I think there's even parallels now to what we're dealing with here in the pandemic. Yeah. To your point, it puts a sense of perspective on the things, but I guess how you now take that, right, and you're working with such a large company, employees, nationwide. I mean, what kind of stuff are you guys doing, with the pandemic going on? What kind of questions do you have? Like, what's top of mind now for you as a wellness coach, whereas maybe last year it might have been a bit different?
Yeah, so I would say that always top of mind for me has been emotional and mental health. I don't think that we do a great job in this country of addressing that, right? And there is some stigma still surrounding that, especially in the workplace. And so from the very beginning, that's always been a highlight of mine. The pandemic has sort of allowed me to double down on that because now people see it, it's tangible, it's visible. We wake up in the morning and you might feel that drain, right? My employees come in and they've already carried a burden of just the changes that we've had to undergo as a result of this pandemic, or the worries, fears, or anxieties that people are carrying these days, and rightfully so. So I think now the conversation is maybe a little bit easier because we're all globally, collectively experiencing it at the same time,
Right.
and it's top of mind for everyone. You know.
So true. So true. And so what if, you think of folks watching this at home, whether they're an HR or employee, I mean, what are either some programs that you've found successful, or even just things folks can do when they're stuck to help? I mean, you as a wellness coach, what have you find helpful, especially in the last couple of months?
Yeah. So I think first and foremost is communication. Talk about it. Like that's the number one thing that you can do. If you normalize the conversation so that people don't feel alone, that's the number one way that we can start to connect with each other again, right? If I wake up in the morning and I feel like I'm the only one suffering, I'm the only one challenged with this kind of stuff, I'm going to naturally withdraw inward to myself, and I may not look for the resources or support that I need to keep moving forward. And so if we can communicate to each other, and be honest and transparent and vulnerable about what it is that we're experiencing, I think that's a really great first step to help everybody kind of come out and realize, hey, we're in this together. And then we've really been leaning heavily on our like employee assistance programs. We've been looking for different resources to share with our employees in terms of how to manage stress. We've done a number of internal webinars for our employees, kind of letting them know what are some ways to deal with anxiety, to prepare for change, to build resiliency. And so as a technology company, we love using technology for that regard. So we do a lot of stuff with digital content. We've built microsites for our people with resources and compiled. But I think really it's about, as an individual, it's about touching base with yourself and realizing what kind of support do I need, and then looking for that. As HR professionals, it's really reaching out to your people and making sure that they understand it's okay to ask for help, and it's also okay to not be okay, right? And if you just give people that permission to say, hey, it's okay if you're not all right today, what can I do to support you? That goes a long way in building authentic relationships in our workplaces.
So important. That's amazing. And yeah, I like the ability to speak up, feel comfortable speaking up. So much goes into that. But before we go, again, another thing we talked about, obviously in the pandemic, people are daydreaming, dreaming of travel. But fun fact about you is you actually hiked Mount Kilimanjaro. You stuck the Florida flag from undergrad days into the mountains. So one, talk about that experience, and when you are able to travel, where is the next place you're going?
Oh, that's a really tough question. Yeah, so Kilimanjaro, harder than I ever thought it would be, but more life-changing than I could have ever imagined. There's something about testing your boundaries and pushing past your comfort zone that just changes you as a person. And so, I'm not the same person I am after I came off that mountain. Where would I go when I get out of here? I had plans to go to Hawaii, Iceland, anywhere, really anywhere. I'd do anything at this point.
Right. Down the street is fine to start,
Exactly.
But yeah, that's so cool. That jumped out to me, and so it's very cool. Fun fact about you, I don't think many folks knew. So, Stacy, really appreciate you joining us today. Super exciting conversation, really top of mind for everybody, and it's cool to see your career pivot as we're all in a pivot now as well. So we'll link up to some of the things you guys are doing at UKG now, and appreciate your time. Appreciate you stopping by.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure to chat with you all. Like, everyone, take care of yourselves. This is a rough time, but we're going to get through it together.
Amen to that. Thank you so much, Stacy. And thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week on the Weekly Source.